Wow. Wow, Jake, what a game in College Station between Alabama and Texas A&M as we all take a collective sigh of relief after that second half there in College Station on Kyle Field. What a game, Jake. Just an unbelievable atmosphere. That's what, like Jalen Milroe just said in his post game, that's what you come to play college football for. That's what college football is all about. That was an incredible game. What a matchup between two of the best teams in the SEC. And credit to Alabama for getting the stops on defense they needed, Jake, and credit to Jalen Milroe making plays in the passing game for this Alabama offense. Just a great team effort. We're going to dive into all the good, the bad, and the ugly, I guess you could say. But anytime you get a road win in the SEC at a place like Texas A&M, you got to be happy with the performance.
Oh, absolutely, man. I'm ecstatic about that performance. I saw a lot of growth. And let me just say my initial thoughts here. Don't look now, but that defensive front of Alabama is clicking. Tim Smith was a force today. Justin Boybe had a couple of sacks, I believe. Otis, we know what he does. He had a good game. Tim Keenan as well. I mean, this the defensive front line is doing an amazing job at the moment.
Yeah, they were really the story in the game to me, especially in the second half, Jake. The way they were able to they had Max Johnson on his back about every snap. You look at guys like Tim Keenan, like you mentioned, Justin Aboybe, those guys came to play. Jaheim Otis, obviously Dallas Turner and Chris Braswell did their thing as well. So just Tim Smith, I thought, was incredible against the run. And so just a great performance by the defense, I think, first off. And, the penalties, Jake, I want to get to the penalty. I want to get all the negative stuff out of the way here at the beginning. The penalties, Jake. The pre-snap, 9 of the 14 penalties in the game from Alabama were pre-snap penalties.
Yeah.
You can't have those. It's I don't understand it, Jake. Now there was a couple on that one drive where we had like 4 in a row that I never saw anybody move.
I didn't either. I think on Dupree, when they called one on Dupree, he was pointing at a guy that moved and they got him for it. I was like, what?
Yeah, and then the call on the block field goal attempt, Jake, on Dallas Turner. I mean, good grief. What is this, patty cake?
Yeah, pretty much. And same way with Braswell. I mean, Braswell's getting blocked. He's trying to throw his hand up to, he can't see. He's getting blocked. He's just trying to throw his hand up to make a play to try to knock the ball down. And it comes across the quarterback's, helmet, and they call, I guess that's personal foul, roughing the passer now. And I'm like, that is so cheap. I mean, what the penalty, or I mean, that right there is just a cheap way to get extra yardage. It's bull crap.
All right, guys. Hey, we got a poll up there in the chat that you can see. It's a simple question. Are you a Milroe believer now? Yes, no, or you still need to see more? Right now, 17 yes, 1 no, and 7 need to see more. The truth is, Jake, this is about as good a defense as Alabama's going to face the rest of the season. Believe it or not, I think the rest of the way, maybe Auburn has the best defense that Alabama's going to face. I mean, if you see what they've done against teams like Georgia, the way they were kind of to handle those guys for a few quarters, and even Texas A&M. So the rest of the way, it's, Alabama's got room to grow and improve offensively, and Milroe played a heck of a game, Jake. And I know he missed some throws, especially in the first half. I thought in the second half he come out firing. And I know he threw the pick early in the second half, but that kind of baited him into that when he thought that he was going to have the wheel route wide open to Amari Niblack. And the truth is, 9 out of 10 times that play is going to be open and it's going to be a touchdown. A&M just did a great job of baiting him on that one. But I thought Milroe, 21 to 33, 321 yards, by far the best game of his career, and it come against the best defense he's faced. So, kudos to Milroe. I thought Reese did a good job of seeing that Milroe had good rhythm in the passing game, and then decided, hey, we're not having much success running. Let's not completely abandon it, but let's lean on the arm of Milroe because he seems to be in a rhythm, especially with Jermaine Burton.
Man, yeah, you're right. I was going to bring up Jermaine Burton. Man, what a performance by him. We've been looking for, that wide receiver to step up in a time of need and be like, okay, you can rely on me to make a big catch. And Jermaine Burton was that guy today. I mean, 197 yards. I mean, 3 away from 200 yards, reception yards today. I mean, my gosh, what an incredible performance. This is Jermaine Burton, I feel like, was going to come to Alabama a few years ago. We hadn't seen this type of, Jermaine Burton yet. Now, he did have a penalty, with that unsportsmanlike lot, but he calmed down. The whole team calmed down. Yeah, go ahead, Stacey.
Well, on
Yeah.
Burton's, I mean, that dude's on
Yeah.
Alabama sidelines chirping.
Yeah, he is. and we got the foul.
Every ticky-tack call went against Alabama in this game. And there was 2 false starts that they called on 77 that dude never moved.
He never moved.
By the way, I thought for the most part the offensive line played really good, especially in pass protection. There was a couple where they did all-out blitzes and got Milroe, and Milroe took a couple sacks when he should have got rid of the ball. But I thought overall the offensive line held up pretty good. And Jake, in the second half, the running game, although it wasn't great, it was good enough in the second half to kind of keep them honest a little bit.
Yeah, I see growth on the offensive line. I see growth in this offense, and you finally see what we can be offensively if everything clicks. And honestly, the 26-20 score is what it is, but I feel like Alabama in the second half played a lot better than A&M did, and I feel like overall it should have been a game that's out of reach. It felt like at times for A&M to make a comeback, but it seemed like the refs kept them in the game. I hate to say that, but honestly, that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel. I mean,
yeah,
the call on Dallas Turner, Jake, was abysmal. I mean, that probably opens the floodgates for Alabama. Alabama goes up 31-17 at that point. If that touchdown doesn't get called back, they have all the momentum in the game. A&M can't stop the offense unless Alabama gets a lot of penalties for false starts. So you really feel like that call really cost Alabama from kind of putting the foot on the throat of A&M, because I think if they go up 31-17 there, Alabama may run away with it to end that game, because A&M could not protect Max Johnson in that second half. And I want to get to the defense now, Jake, because three points in the second half allowed?
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, that's good. That's great defense right there. Caleb Downs really turned things around for Alabama with that interception there in the second half after Milroe threw his interception. Caleb Downs is a guy who just continues to grow and get better. Dallas Turner, Justin Aboybe, Chris Braswell, Tim Keenan, Tim Smith, those guys are playing lights out right now, Jake. And if we'd have got that group against Texas, it might have been a little bit different ball game in that game. They're not playing the same right now, so or as they were back then. So kudos to the defensive front. Freddie Roach has got those guys coached up right now. Tim Keenan, Jake, I don't know that he hasn't been Alabama's breakout player of the year this year. I mean, I think you could certainly make that argument.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's done great. We heard his name, in fall camp. People were saying, keep an eye on him because he's probably going to be starting day one on the defensive front. And he's definitely earned it, and he's showed out and has showed out, and 8 tackles, led the team today, 4 solos by himself, and had 1 sack. That was just an incredible performance by that defensive front as a whole, but especially Tim Keenan.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I thought Justin Aboybe maybe played the best game of his Alabama career, Jake. I mean, I know he had at least 1 sack. I think he got in on another.
Yeah,
was constantly bull rushing those A&M offensive linemen, and they couldn't handle him. Jake, Aboybe played the best game of his Alabama career, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, Stacey. And we felt like this game, of course, pretty much every game is won in the trenches, and I felt like on both sides of the ball, Alabama won the trench game today. And it was a rough start offensively for the offensive line, but the second half they made the adjustments. And, I feel like Eric Wolf would talk to those guys on the sideline and said, hey, just calm down. We're fine. And it really set the offense in motion, especially like you said early on in the pass protection. They did a really good job holding back some of those blitzing linebackers and stuff. But there was a couple plays like you mentioned about the sacks. When you're only got 5 guys protecting and they rush 6, there's going to be 1 guy that's untouched. And when Milroe got hit hard, I was like, oh gosh, I hope he's all right. But
that dude's tough.
He is, man. He's been taking a beating, but he's fighting, he's fighting tooth and nail out there.
Yeah, I want to get to the chat real quick, Jake. Somebody says, why did the OC have Milroe pass at the end? That could have cost us the game. That was Milroe. That was not the call.
Milroe.
Milroe done that because there was nobody lined up on Malik Benson, and he thought, hey, I can get a touchdown here, and the game's for sure over. But that's why you saw Saban so animated with Milroe when he went over to the sideline, because he's like, you can't do that. I mean, that's the type of play that costs you a game. But so that was not on Tommy Rees. That was Milroe kind of taking things into his own hands when he probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, you're right. I love this comment here from K King 56. He said Nick Saban could put a 1950s vacuum cleaner at wide receiver 1 spot and it would never have what at the end of the year.
Yeah, I go up to the receiver stats real quick, Jake. I want to look at what Burton and Bond were able to do, Jake, and
right there,
man, combined for what is that? 16 catches for basically 200 yards.
Yeah, well over 200 yards because Burton.
I meant 300 yards. I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw. Go ahead.
Yeah, Ben Ross makes a good point here. And guys, we'll touch on the injuries to Malachi Moore into James Burnip here in just a second. But Ben Ross says Reese did a good job without having a running game. Yeah, I think Reese maybe called his best game of the year, especially considered we were basically one-dimensional for the entire game. So yeah, I thought Reese did a good job of adapting to that. And then I thought Milroe did a good job and everybody else did a good job of kind of, adjusting to that style of play in game and then executing the plan. So great job by Reese kind of adjusting. I'm sure they wanted to run the ball a little more effectively than what they did. But great job by Reese getting the plays that Milroe just looked so comfortable, especially in the second half, Jake. And really throughout the whole game, he looked so comfortable. I mean, he really did.
Yeah, he did. I was really impressed, the growth that we've seen in Milroe in this game. And I know there's still a few haters out there, and I'm understandably so. He still has his moments where he makes a boneheaded decision, but I feel like as the weeks and as the season goes on, he's going to learn more about those mistakes. We did see him throw away one time today, which I was glad to see. But it's really he was trying to. I feel like some of those scrambles, he's trying to find somebody open so bad that he just gets himself in a situation we can't get out of. So, and I can't blame him for that because I think he's got a chip on his shoulder to prove that he is the guy, and he's just trying to do too much. Just let your team around you make the plays, and you just get the ball when needed to them.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Jake. I agree 100%. I want to get to our polls real quick. We got 3 in the chat right now. The first was, are you a Milroe believer now? 74% of the audience believe so. They believe in Jalen Milroe now. 96% of the audience believes that Jermaine Burton is wide receiver 1 for the Crimson Tide. And then 61% says that Tim Keenan is Alabama's breakout player this season. And 22% say that it is someone else. So if you got somebody else, I'd love to hear who that is in the chat, by the way, because I'm all ears for those type of comments. Yeah, Ben Ross, Milroe played with great poise. He really did. I didn't think Milroe would play terrible, but I wasn't expecting him to throw for 300 yards.
Yeah. I mean, look at this stat line, Stacey, right here. 21 and 33, 321 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then that 1 interception. But like you mentioned, Kelly Downs played a great ball there and got the ball right back for this offense. And the offense, I feel like, is starting to click just little by little every single week. And the way the defense is playing, it spells bad news for the rest of the SEC.
Yeah, and speaking of the defense, Jake, Malachi Moore did go down. Man, just when we get Deontay Lawson back, and we're looking like we have a defense that is just, elite really it is. Man, then Malachi Moore gets nicked up, a guy who's probably been the best defensive player for Alabama outside of Dallas Turner this season. So need to get him back healthy. Have not heard anything, definitive on the significance of his injury. James Burnip, I think he warmed up to start the second half, but I think we only punted twice during the second half. So it's probably one of those things where it's like, let's just hold him out to be on the safe side. So I think he's going to be okay. But getting more back is going to be critical for Alabama's defense, especially when you start playing teams like LSU and Tennessee, who have, great vertical passing games, guys that are hard to cover. So getting more back in a couple weeks when they play Tennessee will be huge for Alabama. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that injury status of Malachi Moore.
Yeah, man, I think it's crucial to get Malachi back because he is a signal caller for the defense and gets everybody lined up. But I want to give a shout out to. Is there anything that Will Rocker cannot do? I mean, he can get field goals, he can punt now. I mean, I'm like, this kid is everywhere. And losing James Burnham. I mean, Burnham had an awesome punt there and early on in the game, and then I think he got hurt. But Will Rocker stepped in and had some fairly decent punts himself, and had one that ended up in the back of the end zone. I don't know exactly how far it went, but it went at least 50 a lot. But I'm like, good night. This kid can do it all, man.
Yeah, Rockert is honestly, if you just take the position out of it, he and I know this is kind of a weird take, but you could honestly put Rockert on like the Mount Rushmore of Alabama football.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he has a legitimate shot of being the NCAA's all-time leading scorer.
Mm-hmm.
He's by far Alabama's all-time leading scorer. And the dude, I mean, he's made clutch kicks. He come in the clutch today and punted in the absence of James Burnham. He's basically automatic. I mean, Rockert is up there as one of the best Alabama football players of all time. I mean, that's not being hyperbolic. That's just the truth. I mean, he's for his job. I mean, name somebody that's done their job as good as Will Rockert has done his job.
Yeah, you're right. He's incredible. And so Tracy Humber said hashtag Rocker for Heisman. I'd be all for him. He's all. I mean, he's clutch. He just seems like he does it all, man.
Let's see. Got to address the O-line mistakes. It's getting ridiculous. Yes, no doubt. Okay. The pre-snap penalties are just. I mean, they're atrocious, Jack. They are drive killers.
Yeah.
I mean, they are absolute drive killers. You cannot have pre-snap penalties, especially when you're struggling to run the football. I mean, it makes it a little easier if you can run the ball, but if you get in 2nd and 15 or 2nd and 13 or 1st and 15, I mean, it's going to be a long day. Jake, there was one instance where it was 3rd down and 3 right before halftime, Jake. That's a very manageable down for Alabama. You get a false start, it's 3rd and 8, then you get a sack because A&M can pin their ears back and bring pressure, and they get a sack. So the pre-snap penalties have to stop, Jake. They just have to.
Yeah, they are drop killers, Stacey, and they hurt us a couple of times. There was another instance. I think we had a very manageable third down. It ended up being like 3rd and 23 after a couple false starts. I'm like, good night. You get yourself behind the 8 ball in situations like that. And I think that might have been early on in the 3rd quarter where we were still down like 17-10. And I'm like, man, this is not a good start. But after that, the team kind of settled in. We did have a couple more late in the game, but you saw Saban pretty hot about those. Saban just wanted to end that game, man, and just the mistakes were killer, and but it didn't hurt, thankfully.
And what about them putting the ball in Milroe's hands there at the end of the game, Jake? And he somehow Houdini's his way out of a sack and gets the ball out to Jace McClellan, who bobbles the ball, fortunately, so he doesn't catch it with his knee down, and then gets up and picks up a 1st down. Just unbelievable effort by Milroe to even get the ball out. And then he doesn't throw it in harm's way. There's nobody around Jace McClellan, and McClellan makes a great play to secure the catch and pick up a 1st down, and that ends the game. So really, really good win for Alabama. I mean, it's anytime – look, we can talk about all the mistakes that you want to. They somehow overcome the mistakes, overcome the penalties, and get a road win against a tough opponent and one of the toughest environments in college football. And I'm with you guys. Look, Desmond Howard, Chris Doering, Brian Jones on CBS beforehand. I mean, they talk about Alabama like Alabama's just trash.
Yeah. But we're going to go 8-5 this year.
Yeah, I just, look, has Alabama been great this year? No way. But I mean, when has A&M shown to be great?
Right.
I mean, they've won back-to-back games. That's great, Jake. They beat Auburn and Arkansas, who might be the two worst teams in the SEC West.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, so I think people got a little ahead of themselves on the A&M thing. Not that A&M is not a great team, Jake, but you saw today that their offensive line, because Alabama hardly brought pressure. It was 4 guys. It was a 4-man rush, Jake, most of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so that offensive line struggled. Max Johnson, when he was under pressure, he struggled to make good decisions. I think they might have had 300 yards. Does it show the team box score here on this, Jake? I don't know if it shows total yards or not, but
let's see. No, I don't see it here. So plays, it just shows the plays. I don't see a team box score.
Yeah, I mean, if they had over 300, it wasn't much over 300.
Yeah.
So this Alabama defense just continues to play lights out. I'm going to pull it up real quick, but A&M had 306.
306. That's it.
So against 3 SEC teams, the most yards they've given up against the SEC is 306 today. They go up 301 to Ole Miss and less than 300 last week to Mississippi State. So the defense is doing their job, Jake, and they're creating turnovers. They already have matched the number of interceptions for last season as a defense with 7. So just an incredible job. And A&M got set up early with points in the first half. After they muffed a punt, it bounces right back to them, and then we just can't tackle the dude. Yeah. So it's crazy how the ball just does not bounce Alabama's way on fumbles. It's unbelievable, really.
And then on a kickoff, A&M guys sitting there staring at each other, and the ball just bounces up. One of them just barely touches, does that and hits it right to the guy's hands, and he takes off, got like maybe 10 yards out of it. But still, I'm like, man, come on. Mike had he has a comment here. He says, how can we get the O-line to start banging on all cylinders from snap number 1? It seems like it takes them the first half to warm up. My thing is, and I've said this all season, and really it's been a constant with Alabama. It seems like this team, we weather the storm offensively and defensively through the first half, and in the second half, this when we start dominating. And you see that. I feel like we are definitely a second half team. And that first half, as long as we keep either the game close or maybe we be up by halftime, but as long as we keep it closed, that second half is all Alabama, no doubt.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Jake. And so Mike says, how can we get the O-line to start banging?
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I had to mute everything for a minute. My internet was going out for a second, so I didn't quite catch everything you had to say. But but one point on the offensive line, I'll say this. I think one thing that's hindering Alabama is they've had to play a bunch of different guys because of injuries so far this year. Tyler Booker's missed a game. Darren Dalcourt didn't play today. We're kind of going back and forth with Caden Proctor and Elijah Pritchett. So they haven't really built chemistry yet. But I think overall, aside from the penalties, the offensive line's playing pretty good.
Yeah, I agree, Stacey. The offensive line, I feel like is coming to its own. It's getting better each and every week. On our pregame or pre-preview show of the A&M game, I showed a couple of clips of Caden Proctor, how his feet work is getting a lot better. So, especially with that young kid, I mean, he's a true freshman. Just getting more game experience is going to help him out. And I need to say this, feel like Seth's snaps were a lot better today as well, and that really helped.
Yeah, no doubt. I thought Seth played maybe his best game of the year overall. He did have that one snafu where he, the snap thing where he, kind of rocked the ball a little bit. But all right, we're going to wind it down now, Jake. I got to take some blood pressure medicine.
I took mine before the game.
I should have. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Bleacher Report, for allowing us to do this each and every week throughout the season as we give our instant reaction from Alabama versus Texas A&M. Big win for Alabama. Head back home for Arkansas next week. Time to get another win on homecoming before you get to the third Saturday of October in that revenge game against Tennessee. But that's going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Join us over at Tide Talk Live on YouTube, and we would love to have you there as well. But that's going to do it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you soon, guys. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.